Well, it's been a long journey. 7 years ago, my wife took ill, was on a lot of opiates. Shortly after that, we found that cannabis would work for her. We joined up with a dispensary in Portland called the Human Collective, and I've been there as owner, co-owner for 6 years now. And a few years back, I founded an organization called the Oregon Cannabis Business Council because I thought there was a need for a trade organization in the industry. And we help with the laws and rules. We have our own lobbyist. I sit on several committees within the state. And I believe that it's important now that people begin to understand cannabis is an agricultural product. So we've always done community outreach. Last year we were at the Oregon State Fair. We had a booth, and it was strictly educational, handing out pamphlets and flyers about how cannabis is grown and how it's processed, etc. This year we stepped up the game. We said, let's have a growers fair a couple weeks before and do live plant judging, as you see behind me. And then the winners of this judging in 2 weeks will actually appear in a special booth at the Oregon State Fair for all 250,000 people if they want to come in and look at it. A lot of these people, it'll be the first time they've ever set eyes on a cannabis plant. And so doing this, we hope to educate the general public and take away the mystique of cannabis or you know, the cloud that we're operating under. And it's only through education that I think we can do that. So that's a long explanation to your question, but that's how I came to be here. Well, the cannabis plant has now been designated by the Oregon State Legislature as a farm crop. And we are hoping to treat it that way. But we also know that it has tremendous medicinal value. I mean, that's how everything started here in Oregon, was through the medical program. We're going to continue, make sure that patients are taken care of and that the laws protect the rights of patients. That's an important goal of the Cannabis Business Council. But you know, I've seen it work on my wife. I've seen it work on countless other people who come into my dispensary. So I know it works as a medicine, and we just have to keep it that way. It was very disappointing that the DEA didn't do something now. But after a little retrospect here and on talking with some political folks I know, I think what the DEA is doing is, or the government as a whole, is trying to find an elegant out. They painted themselves into a corner with prohibition of cannabis and with no exit strategy. Now I believe they're charting a path for themselves to deschedule or reschedule cannabis, and that path is to now allow other agencies and companies, private companies and whatnot, to do research on the benefits of cannabis, rather than the organization which was against cannabis to begin with doing its research and somehow never coming up with any worthwhile use for the plant. So now that an opposing view is going to look at this, I believe we'll end up within 2 years with the scientific research that can be presented to the DEA, and then the DEA is simply going to go, oh, well, now that we know, yes, we're going to reschedule. That's going to be their out. I would like to thank the cannabis plant for everything I've seen it do for the good of the patients that I service.